Glory to Jesus Christ. Welcome back to another episode of City Desert. And once again, we are picking up with our reading from the first volume of the Philokalia. And we are starting right from the beginning of the text with Saint Isaiah the Solitary. And so if you're following along in the text, we are on page 24. And we are considering saying number 10 at the very top of the page. St. Isaiah writes, "If your intellect is freed of all its enemies and attains the Sabbath rest, it lives in another age, a new age in which it contemplates things new and undecaying. For wherever the dead body is, there will the eagles be gathered together." Just from one quick reading, it sounds like a rather obscure saying and some of the images that are used. So it's helpful, I think, for us not only to meditate upon it, but to unpack it a little bit. We mentioned in the last episode that the fathers' theology, their spirituality, their anthropology, psychology, all of it differs greatly, I think, from our understanding of the spiritual life. Despite the fact that the writings and the lives of these desert fathers is the bedrock of the spiritual tradition of the church as a whole, and yet we have to work hard in our day and age to grasp what it is that they are saying, especially in an age that has lost sight of the fact that Christianity is an ascetical religion, that we seek to exercise our faith, that there is a kind of synergy between the self and God, and we are called to take hold of the grace that He gives us so freely, and in order that we might embody it, the life of the kingdom, and we might conform ourselves to Christ in every way. And so as we look at this saying from Isaiah the Solitary, we keep these things in mind and we understand, again, the struggle with language. The word intellect used here in English is problematic because of the connotations that it holds for us. We often see it as our reason, our natural intellect, through which we dissect the realities that we perceive, we analyze them, we come to some judgment in regard to them. Whereas for the fathers, the intellect in the Greek was nous, which meant not this natural faculty, but rather a God-given capacity for comprehending Him. The nous, the eye of the heart, the eye of the soul, that provided that it is purified by the ascetic life, by the grace of God, it comes to comprehend in faith the very things of the kingdom, to be able to see God, to see and understand our own wounds, our need for healing, our sin, to see the truths of the kingdom. And so a person who is pure of heart is also the true theologian, who does not think in an abstract way about the things of God, but has an experiential knowledge of that reality in and through his relationship with the Lord and through this purity of heart. And so Isaiah says, if your intellect is freed from all its enemies, the provocations of the evil ones, but also of our own sinful thoughts, and attains the Sabbath rest, it lives in another age. And so if our heart has come through this purification and this transformation by the grace of God, it comes to taste something of the eternal Sabbath, this rest in God, this rest of the kingdom, the peace of the kingdom. And so one already begins to experience in this world, through God's grace and through purity of heart, the reality, the life of the kingdom, something of its invincible peace, its invincible joy, and its invincible hope. Isaiah continues, a new age in which it contemplates things new and undecaying. So through the eye of the heart, the intellect, one begins to see and comprehend and experience that which knows no corruption. We begin to experience the things of the kingdom, to experience them as they are. And this might be through the dark obscurity of faith, but nonetheless, it is comprehension, it is a knowing. And again, something that is not reducible to our grasp of it intellectually on an abstract way, but always something that is experienced in and through faith. And then Isaiah adds an interesting quote from Matthew's gospel from the Lord. For wherever the dead body is, there the eagles will be gathered together. Utterly confusing on the surface. But the word eagles here in the Greek is actually closer to vultures, carrion birds, those who circle above when a dead animal or dead body is there, preparing themselves to come and consume it. And so one of the signs of this corruption in this world is the circling of the carrion birds above, vultures. But the sign of the presence of the kingdom is the manifestation of the very life of this new age. One begins to see and comprehend the things of the kingdom, the beauty of God's love, of virtue, but also those who are engaged in a constancy of prayer, who serve God without ceasing, the very angels themselves. One begins to comprehend this celestial life and through cultivating this celestial husbandry, if you will, within our hearts by purifying them, we begin to see this life and begin to participate in it, really and truly. This is what is made possible for us through the grace of God, through the purification of the heart, participation in the sacrament, receiving the Eucharist, the gift of God's own Spirit dwelling within us. If we have entered into that reality, if we have removed everything, if we have freed ourselves from the enemies that are obstacles to God's grace, then we begin to experience this heavenly life now, the life of the kingdom. Thanks be to God for his great mercy and his great love. And let us pray today through the intercession of St. Isaiah that we would seek this purity of heart and so come to know the fruit that it bears within us, the joy and the life of the kingdom. Thank you and God bless you and have a wonderful day.